Earth Debate, Uncut and After Show. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe. Hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere, and there's also a PayPal, Patreon, crypto and thanks button in the info box below the video. Speaking of Patrons, I'm going to do a quick shout out to all of you who do support me on Patreon. So a massive shout out of thanks and appreciation to Giuseppe Montesano, Trying to Triangle, Mitch Kennedy, Original D-Rose, Rod, The Name's Burley, Twad Wazzle, Jason Hornsby, Christoph Fournier, Flat Earth Travolta, JMails24, Unimento, M. Iron26, Endless, Flat Earth Sage, Golden McKiernan, Retro Bill, More Books, Cannabear, Bogey, Michael Kahn, John Kays, Patrick Gunnels, Banter, Mel B. Styles, Hairy Blade, Mobile Max 777, Rob W., Reese Pound, Dale West Watson, Maria Nealand, Unbelievable Productions, Blue Ridge Ranger, The Real Gabster, Abraham Mohammed, Skeptic 936, Life is Short, Texas Mike, David Wayne Foster, and Dank. So another massive thank you to all of you for supporting me on Patreon. And with that, I'll hand over to whoever is in Discord and Google so you can enjoy their dulcet tones while I set it for today's live show.
Why don't one person tell us what's going on?
Well,
We're live.
We're talking to guns, guys.
He doesn't even know sum of a triangle, sum of angles in a triangle. But he's been spinning everybody in circles for past 20 minutes, talking rambling nonsense. What the fuck, man?
No swearing, please.
No swearing.
Let's be nice. He's came here to learn, right? So let's just be patient with
It's
him.
okay. Nathan is starting the show. Let's start from the beginning. Clean slate.
Is he starting? Are we live?
The show has started, yes.
It started about 4 times, actually, but we'll see how well this one goes. We might stay live for a prolonged period this time. You never know.
4 more hours.
Yes,
So
indeed.
Exactly.
the guns guy, we've been trying to explain the difference between science and pseudoscience. That there's a big difference, and we've gone through that. And we've been speaking about gravity, and we've been asking for the guy to explain and talk us through using the scientific method his claim of gravity. But he's saying that it's impossible to do, which we agree with, because otherwise we would be able to put it through the method. But we keep going round in circles, and the guy's bringing up a submarine and then using gravity when a submarine's a man-made piece of machinery. So it's just been a bit like that. So I don't know if not really got far.
Why don't we,
Well,
the last thing.
Yeah, but this is the guy who doesn't know what a triangle is.
The last thing we heard here was about independent variables.
Right.
That's
So
the
why
last
don't
thing
you?
we heard.
Oh, so why don't we start with what's his observed phenomenon in nature? What does he see that's putting us through this?
Start with what's gravity?
Yeah, we tried that before.
I didn't hear it.
All right, so let's try
what's
that.
Gravity.
Well, he's give us the mass attracting mass, and then he also gave us the bending of time in a 4th dimension.
What?
Space-time.
He also told
really?
us he's getting his information from Fight the Flat Earth.
Okay, so it sounds like there's a couple of questions that need to be asked in terms of what we address these with housekeeping. So we'll start with the science aspect. Any scientific evidence of gravity?
No.
Nope.
Well, no, because in the first instance you would have to observe the natural phenomena, and there is none to observe. So you can't go any further with that plane.
What do you mean? Things go down.
Well, gas doesn't
That's
go
an
down, does
effect.
it?
That's an effect, though.
Is it?
It is if you induce it. But yeah, some things go down, some things remain neutral or in equilibrium, and some things go up. So what? That's not gravity.
So there's no downward vector.
You can ascribe a vector relative to you, if you wish, if you want to describe it linguistically. But the fact that some things go down, some things go up, some things, most things, don't do anything. What the hell's that got to do with the claim of this gravity? That isn't gravity, is it?
Right. Before you start to prove it, you need to actually define it first. Before you start to call independent variables and try to work with that, you got to first define what it actually is.
Wait, did you say
Physics.
independent
It's a concept.
variables? Plural?
Singular.
Yeah, but the other guy had it plural.
Okay. Well, at the point that we have no observed phenomena to be describing or appealing to keep us to the side of a spinning water ball, that's the end of any non-force or force that you think is a force that isn't really a force, that's an emergent force, that's actually the bending 4D space-time. Well, none of those things are applicable. If you can't show us anything occurring, you can't appeal to it as a apologetic for why you're not flying off a spinning water ball. Okay, what about the other one? Any evidence you can acquire an elevation angle measurement from a curved baseline?
No, and we have them agreeing with us on the other side.
Unless
there
you don't
even
know what the
such a thing as
triangle is. A right angle triangle, that is.
Well, we're
I mean, you only
assuming we're
I have a
assuming
question.
we're assuming that we're not dealing with people who don't understand what a triangle is, or will try and convince you that a triangle maybe has curved sides and stuff. You know, beyond those idiotic assertions of idiots that don't know what triangles are, we do. We know how they're applied. They're definitely straight lines meeting at vertices. So it's for us to then ask them how they get one of those off a curved baseline.
I mean, Nathan,
Nathan,
in
I
the
have a
definition,
question. Hold on.
you've only got.
Technical.
Hello?
Okay, sorry.
I don't know.
So I was
One
just
of
saying,
you.
it's in the definition. Oh, it's dead easy. You've just got to look at the definition of what an elevation angle is, and it'll tell you its requirements and what's needed. Needs a flat. It's a line of sight. It's a line of
This is
sight
your time
into
to
an
shine.
object above the horizontal
Can I ask my
baseline.
question now?
Can you all stop interrupting each other? Nearly got to the end of that sentence, Wandek.
I'm done now. Thanks.
Can I ask my question?
I'm sorry.
Nathan?
Yes, Arwin, then Jorge. Go ahead.
Thank you. Right. So I have a question about the curved baseline. Does that actually exist in the first instance? Is that even a proper phrase to say curved baseline? Like, I know, like within the mechanics, within the mathematics, it would have to be that, right? But is a baseline actually ever curved in anything?
No.
Is it actually a real thing?
Not for celestial navigation, it can't be.
No, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about how it's impossible. I'm just talking about, is a baseline ever curved in anything, ever? Is that ever used? Is it even considered a baseline then?
No, it's
No.
not.
Right. So then that would technically mean it's a bit nitpicky. That's kind of a malformed question.
Well, like all of the
Right.
housekeeping, like literally every housekeeping question.
Oh, and you just said it is a baseline curve. But what's a line?
No,
I mean, you could term it. You could term it
A
adjacent.
line can
I
be
think.
curved, but a baseline can't.
Not a
would be.
baseline.
So you could just even ask, is there such a thing as a curved baseline?
Inogan's differs from all of us. So I was hoping he would open his mic and contradict us, because according to him, triangles, they have curved baselines.
He's wrong.
According to him, triangles have 390-degree angles.
Who's him?
What the?
Who's him?
The unicorn over
Number
in the
one.
This
chat.
guy from the other day.
Hey, who cares? He's wrong.
This is your
I
time to
personally think
shine.
he's trolling
what?
us.
A 270-degree triangle? What?
What's the definition of a triangle?
Well, I know it adds up to 180 degrees no matter what, right? Otherwise, it's not even gonna match.
Exactly.
It's not gonna be full. It's weird. It would be a broken figure.
it wouldn't work.
Of course it wouldn't. It's a contradiction in terms. If you're talking about anything, if you say, okay, well, the amount that it adds up to on a spherical surface is, and then you give a number. Well, what are you talking about when you give the number at the end? Well, you're talking about the number of degrees. Okay, well, what's a degree? Well, it's a measurement of an angle. Okay? Well, if you've got curved lines meeting at vertices, you haven't got measurements of angles. So these numpties that start telling you about how spherical triangles work, no. Now, maybe in your numpty world of sphere, but in the world of reality, you measure angles off baselines. Those angles are straight lines meeting vertex. That's what an angle is. Now, they can spend all day telling you that's not the case, but that's what fundamentalist religious zealots do. Try and convince you that black is white and white is black. You know, well, fine. But as I say, he's wrong. Doesn't matter how many times he appeals to you that curved lines make angles. They do not. He is wrong. But that's what religious beliefs do to you. You know, they get this guy coming along, appealing to you to believe as he believes that curved lines make angles. Okay, you don't need to appeal to you. You guys don't need to get worked up because you've got some crazy person talking nonsense.
That's true.
It's kind of funny, even when you put it into that computer program that dude was using. He tried to use the curved line. What did it say? This object is not a line. Access
doesn't work.
denied.
Yep, the AI can't help you with this one problem, ballers.
Access denied.
So the question
that
stands.
Could be a good rap.
So how do you get an elevation angle measurement of a curved baseline, given that the baseline on a sphere is curved? The answer is you can't. However, navigation is performed with baselines, and those baselines will form the flat base of a right-angled triangle if you're trying to triangulate. That means Earth is flat. The end of the
Unless
argument.
you want to go to hell.
Well, unless you want to take those angles that you measure first and start inferring that they work with the spherical belief that you have, in which case you'll end up in hell, talking about angles working their way out from the center. Yeah, well, that's not measuring an angle. The question we ask is about measuring the angle, not what you'll do with the flat Earth elevation angle you measure off a flat baseline when you take that flat Earth angle to hell. That's not what we're asking. How'd you measure it? The answer is very clear. Off a flat Earth. That's what all the fundy ballers are telling us. You measure it off a flat plane. That's how you get it. I mean, that's why I asked yesterday, what's the advance on any evidence that you can acquire an elevation angle measurement off a curved baseline? Answer from both globe and anti-flat Earth, it must be flat. That's the standpoint. Any advance on that, ballers and anti-flat earthers, it's just got to be flat. Yeah, we've won. Not just won, it's a slam dunk. There is no rebuttal. Your response is to tell us angles are measured flat. Or tell us how you'll get something flat to do this. Well, okay. So, but for the fact that you've got a fundamentalist religious zealot belief, we're going to be measuring it flat, and so will you. It's game over. Earth's flat.
And Nathan, they go one better than that. They actually tell us that they've never claimed that they need the curve, which is even better for us.
Yeah. Or you might end up in the realms of insanity, like what I was overhearing when I was trying to get the live show running, which is, no, bent lines make triangles. Okay, Dumbos. That's where you got to go. Okay, you go there. We will laugh at you. Our empathy ran out in about 2018. So for idiots that start telling us, like the guy who's on the panel now that's gone very quiet, that no, triangles could have curves, we'll just take the piss out of you, call you mentally retarded, tell you that you've got the intellect of a 6-year-old because you don't understand basic geometry and triangles. That's what we'll do. You anti-flat Earth idiots telling us how flat Earth must be and how triangles with 90 degrees to baselines are used. Yeah? That's what you're telling us. So Earth is flat according to us and according to them. And they've got nothing. Oh, beyond telling us that angles aren't angles. Wonderful rebuttal.
Nathan, I'm sorry, you're insulting 6-year-olds. 6-year-olds know what a triangle is.
So yeah, you can argue with us all day about how we don't understand that triangles can have curved lines. We will laugh at you. And your religious belief in a ball that we're not standing on when you've got no scientific evidence of a force holding us to a spinning water ball beyond a pseudo-geometry created by Einstein or an out-of-date rhetoric of mass attracting mass. Utterly absurd.
What's
Also,
mass?
so you guys know, Uniguns is on a work call, so he's not responding because of that.
Of course.
What's mass?
A correction. It's a magical spinning water ball flying around in there.
How did you know that, Righteous?
Somebody DM'd me. So somebody else knows. So it's secondary evidence, I guess you could call it. Is that what it's called? Anyways.
Anyway. So there's no
I still
advancement.
never
Say
got-
he's a
I still
troll.
want to know what mass is.
Still want to know what mass is.
Yeah, if mass attracting mass is supposedly the hypothesis, and what's mass? Normally, QE would be asking these questions, by the
Sure.
way.
But it's not for me to answer. It's not my claim. I don't care.
I want to know what mass is.
Nice. That's a good one.
As soon as you said it, that song popped in my head.
Right, have we got a video we're going to be covering today?
Just want a bullet to show me.
Yes, exactly. This would make a great spoof.
That's funny because I put Uptown Girl by Billy Joel to race yesterday, called her the
Guess that's a
Upwood
no.
Girl.
Okay, we have got a video. Arwen supplied this last week. I don't know if Tenth's disappeared permanently or if he's on strike or what's going on, but we haven't got a Tenth to provide us with videos at the moment.
It saved every one of us.
Okay, can we have the a bit less of the old Tourette's outbreaks? Thank you. Okay, so this video today is by a channel called Voyager. Pretty big channel. And the video is titled NASA Chief Just Leaked Webb Telescope Shocking Discovery in Space. Okay, so as is usually the case, there's already an issue. We haven't even pressed play yet. Anybody care?
Yeah, that's the one I posted.
Yeah, just
Cool.
said that.
It's terrible. I watched 2 minutes of it and then I almost got sick from it.
That sounds about
So-
my length for an hour-long show.
Yeah.
Sounds about
Shocking.
perfect. 80 people watching. Might as well get stuck into it. Okay, so we're just going to, straight off the bat, right? What they're looking at is stuff in the sky, in the night sky. So that's what we're really dealing with if we're talking about actual images that have come from telescopes. Okay? Fine, but the word space in the title infers that there's an area of volume that these objects are residing in. Well, if that were the case, then the gas we're breathing, which expands in all vectors at a high velocity, would fill that area of volume, that space, because that's what gas does. It fills space. So the gas we're breathing would be filling the space that we're looking at all these items in, making all of the claims, if they're from, quote, space, second law of thermodynamics violation claims, because the gas we breathe would fill this area that they're claiming these items are in. So with that out of the way, is anything else anybody wants to add? Okay, with that, I'll say if you're watching this in the live stream chat, there's a link to Voyager going by now. Just let them know, at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me, and indeed, at Arwin, ARWIJN, sent me. Either or, Arwin's the one who originally has seen this video and provided it, so just let them know either one or the other, at Nathan Oakley 1980, or at ARWIJN, sent me, or both. And just let them know we responded to their video. We don't know if it's going to be positive or negative, but based on Arwin's reporting, it's going to be pretty negative. We'll see how we get on.
The James Webb Telescope has identified 6 galaxies that exist 500 million years after the Big
Ugh. Ugh. Less than 10 seconds of footage. and we're
Great
already-
start, right?
The distance that he's ascribing to these lights, called galaxies, is based on Kepler's third law of interplanetary motion and Huygens' assumption that Venus has the same radius value as Earth when assumed to be a sphere. With these two assumptions and Kepler's scales, you can give the values for distances to the Sun, etc., etc., etc. Now, further to that, you've got speeds of light that are ascribed to those distances by Einsteinian mechanics. And with all of these extrapolations and assumptions, you can start making declarations about billions of years in terms of time from the Big Bang, which is how this has just been convoluted as a gaggle screw of time dilation and gravity nonsense. But ultimately speaking, all of the claims that have just been made in that short sentence are based on Catholic Church assumptions of heliocentric motions and orbital values, with Huygens assumptions of Venus's value being the same assumed radius value as a spherical Earth radius value, to give you scale, to give you distance, to give you time in this instance from the Big Bang. Wow, that was a lot to unpack for just 12 seconds of what can we call it? Bullshit from Michio Kaku.
Bang.
It's just
It is believed that
Sorry, Armin, go ahead.
I'm just saying it's just the start.
I guess worse.
All of it is like that.
Okay.
our universe, about 13.
Okay, the voiceover is just far more compressed. I'll just have to maybe vary the volume as they get the narrators on.
0.8 billion years ago was nothing but a compressed ball with infinite density and intense heat. Within this little ball were all matter and all life. This little ball was called the singularity.
Just completely made up. This is Lemaitre's description, right? Am I correct? Yes,
Roughly,
Nathan.
yeah.
This
Although I don't
singularity
think there was. Hold on, I don't think Lemaitre claimed that life was actually within it. I mean,
No.
it didn't exist yet.
In the timeline, though, I'm saying the origin story itself is going to be Lemaitre's, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
exploded and expanded until it became the universe we see and live in today. However, the world of
Because, as supported by... I know, just a baseless assertion. In this context, with a deep voiceover, it was a time of war. It was a time of suffering. It was 3.6 billion years ago. You don't need to give any evidence, obviously. You just make it as a declaration, but just a purely baseless assertion fallacy.
Yeah, but they backed it up with. Hold on, they backed it up with really good, convincing CGI, though.
Oh, that was it. That was the evidence, the CGI.
science has been shaken to its foundations recently, as proof has surfaced that the Big Bang may not be the beginning of all things after all.
So for every numpty dipshit that bought that there was a Big Bang and that was the beginning of it based on absolutely no evidence whatsoever, that might be wrong. I mean, that's shocking. You mean they're going to change this story with no evidence? Oh, wow. I'm amazed. Yeah, not really amazed at all. That's pure sarcasm.
To what then do we owe the creation of our universe? What discoveries could have caused such large paradigm shifts?
Why would we... Go on.
I was just saying a creator. It's literally, he just said the creation of our universe. That would necessitate a creator.
Oh, he did slip that through, didn't he?
He's slipping that by me.
Join us in this video as we explore the intricacies of the cosmos and the various explanations for many of the mysteries that make up our universe.
Those explanations for the mysteries that you say make up our universe. So within the narrative of what you say the universe is, those mysteries will be explained. But you never know. It could be that we'll say that they were all wrong. Like the ones we'll tell you are wrong now. What? So basing this on nothing, I'm going to assume it's all bullshit. Go on.
What if we make up some mysteries and then try to solve those mysteries we made up?
Oh, we do that too. I mean, the mystery of why the unicorns aren't attacking us is because of the argon gas layer in a sphere shape that protects us from unicorn attack. Now, obviously, there'd be chaos if we were being attacked by unicorns, and the mysteries of why we aren't can be explained within my narrative, and it's all very fascinating stuff. Now, coincidentally, there was a recently debunked explanation for why the unicorns aren't attacking. It proved to be wrong. But there we go, we've got a new one, and it's going to explain some of those mysteries. But there was a currently accepted unicorn non-attack explanation that's not true anymore because of new discoveries. So there we go.
After you see these images, you'll know that all that time and hard work was well worth it.
Images? Hard work? I mean, I'm not being funny. There was a reasonable amount of work at pointing the camera through a lens of a telescope when I used to do it. But, beyond pressing the button that says take picture, it wasn't that much work, I gotta be honest. But it sounds like you're talking about images. Images is a very specific word to be using. I wonder why she used that word instead of just photos or something. I wonder why.
Congratulations.
In addition, we'll delve into an unbelievable scientific discovery on this.
Unbelievable and scientific shouldn't go hand in hand, right? Empirical scientific. That's what science offers, empiricism. But it's unbelievable scientific. That sounds questionable. Sounds like we're going to be offered a load of pseudoscience in this now, doesn't it? Like the stories that are going to be debunked later. The one that we'll be finding out soon will be presumably about the Big Bang and it not quite being the beginning of time after all. Well, what a shocker. And all those numpties who thought it was.
This issue, something that could prove an entire belief.
Could prove? There was the word science used. There was me thinking science offered a bit of empiricism. Well, what do I know?
System correct.
Not a great start, Arwin, but still.
The James Webb Space Telescope, a device.
I'm sorry. Did he say a scientific discovery that made a belief system that gave evidence for a complete belief system? Like, could you rewind that like 20 seconds, please?
No, we're back to square.
I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
Know that all that time and hard work was well worth it. Congratulations.
In addition, we'll delve into an unbelievable scientific discovery on this issue, something that could prove an entire belief system correct.
Yeah, chocolate. It could prove an entire belief system correct. So, okay.
I wonder what belief system he could be talking about.
Fascinating stuff. I agree. Right, there's 8 people watching, so this is good, but not as good as it could be. So please share the show if you haven't done so already. Smash that share button, stick it on Facebook, stick it on Twitter, get the word spread. And indeed, let Voyager know at Nathan Oakley 1980 or at Arwin, which is ARWIJN, sent me. And then maybe leave a nice comment about the scientific belief system that was proven or disproven. We'll find out soon.
The James Webb Space Telescope, a device dedicated to watching the first galaxies created from the Big Bang, has...
Why didn't we see a picture of it? Why was that CGI? This is now a real picture of what they say is the James Webb Telescope up in space. But yeah, a minute ago, we had a CGI rendering of some garbage from a computer. Just beggars belief that they can't get a picture of it while it's doing its job.
Has brought some new truths to light. The James Webb launched in...
Here it is again. What's this? This is garbage. What?
2021 to further study the stars may have discovered that religion may not have been that far off from the truth.
Well, what you just showed on screen was Kepler's third law of interplanetary motion playing out in a CGI rendering. So what you're saying is the religion of heliocentrism isn't that far from the truth, because that's what it is. Heliocentrism is just a religion.
Since humans evolved enough to be...
Evolved? What's that mean? That's an interesting word. We won't get into that here, though, unless anybody's going to jump on it. I'll just do it for QE as he's not here in his honour. Evolution? What's that?
Curious about the world around them and beyond, they have spent time looking into the heavens and pondering the origins. With the advent of religion, humans imagined a higher power or realm controlling the affairs of the universe, and by
Did they? As evidenced by?
extension, had to be responsible for its creation. Science, however, had other ideas.
Reification fallacy. Science is a method, it doesn't have ideas.
Firmly sticking to the Big Bang Theory.
Not a theory. Theory would be based on scientific evidence, as opposed to just so stories that might change at any time. 97 people watching. Thank you very much. Obviously, my call to action worked and people have just shared the show.
Religion and science have stood on opposite sides of the conversation for a long time.
Really? I just went through how Kepler gave you orbital motion. They're one and the same. On opposite sides. Go on, whoever's
Hold on,
interrupting
Nathan.
me.
Sorry. But technically he's correct, except it's not the science and the religion he's thinking of. Science and religion do oppose each other, right? Science is a method, empirical religion based on the belief structure. Well,
No.
guess what? The globe is a belief structure, science is a method, and they are in opposition. So
No. But I
he's
have plenty of
technically
people
correct.
offering me up biblical.
totally
Hold on,
disagree
I
with
just
that.
want to address that, Adam. Plenty of people offer up biblical correlation between scientific validity and what was predicted in Scripture. So when you say they are in conflict, and people say, "Look, this was already in Scripture. This cause and effect relationship that we figured out with science is actually already here. Look, this is where it's," and you go, "Oh wow, doesn't it? Does that not lend to the idea or give credence to the idea that they're when at least using Scripture as an example, correlative as opposed to in opposition?" Go on, Adam.
Well, that's what they call religion, but it isn't really the religion. The religion is the ball religion, right?
Oh, from
If
that
you just
perspective,
think
I
of it-
totally agree with you. Yes, contextually in the religion that I've been describing all along, which is heliocentrism, then yeah, then they're in
Exactly.
opposition. But Scripture wouldn't be inclusive of that, although that's how it's bracketized. Hence, this conversation was well worth it. Go ahead, Adam.
I disagree with it in that if you look at the initial developers of empiricism, scientific method, their words of why they're doing it are not as an opposition to creation, to certainly in this case, in most of them, to the biblical scripture. It's done there in knowledge that there is a creator and to try and understand the creator. So if you listen to Bacon, if you listen to Newton as well, fundamental in their science is underpinned with the knowledge of a creator. It doesn't need in reality to ever oppose, does it? It can't oppose, it can only describe cause and effect within creation. So fundamentally, in of itself, it can't have an opposition to religion. People may try to use some of the things to attack creation views and misuse science to disprove creation or try to. But I think at the most basic level, it's designed to support an understanding of creation.
Right, but that's in the context of going with what they are talking about. They think of Christianity, for example, Bible as religion, but they think that science is the globe, right? But in reality, it turns out it's kind of the other way around. Then that's the point. That's my point. But yeah, if what you're saying is correct, the way they're thinking about it is completely wrong.
Never coming to a compromise or even attempting to meet in the middle. Based entirely on facts and visible, measurable data,
So we've had the only cited source as being Michio Kaku so far has given us time and distance based on light years and Big Bang, quote unquote, theory, which isn't scientific. And you're telling us that it's based on facts and measurements. Just lies. This is just outright lies. Anybody disagree? No, just flat out lying. Measurements. No, there's an assumption of an R value for Venus and Earth. That's it. That's not a measurement. Far from it. We've debunked all of the measurements for heliocentrism. All of them. Here on Flat Earth Debate. Subscribe today.
Big Bang holds the most plausible explanation.
Most plausible? If you had science, you'd have empiricism. You haven't. You're hijacking the terminology to lend credence to your just so story that might be proven wrong.
For the birth of our universe.
Just plausible stories aren't going to cut it here. You know, not good enough.
Religion, however, considers the exactness and precision of everything in the universe, stressing that a mere accident couldn't have caused all that we see today. Some sit on the cusp of science and religion, holding that the Big Bang was the precise moment God set the stage for the cosmic evolution that...
So what, heliocentric Christians? I wish 10th was here. He'd be having a field day with this. Yeah, the numpties on the Christian side span throughout heliocentrism also. There's plenty of people who believe that they can incorporate, by changing the words, a heliocentric worldview into biblical text. It's just not the case.
Yes,
place.
he's going through the Flat Swords channel. He's got a few of them that he's reviewing, and they have a whole convoluted teaching about the Bible instead of going right from Genesis and reading it for what it is. They mix in heliocentrism and tell us we don't know how to read the Bible. How do you like that?
They believe that there must be a being who created the exact conditions required for life to emerge and set in motion the genesis of our cosmic evolution at that very moment.
What an outrage.
What?
It's almost blasphemous. So
Yeah,
when
but
he
it
uses,
is blasphemous.
Well, when he uses the word Genesis to describe heliocentrism, it's like there's a book called Genesis. It's describing this. It's not describing heliocentrism. I mean, what an outrage to Christians. 103 watching.
Yeah.
Woo-hoo-hoo. Please share the show.
Yeah, but he also said that, like, according to creation, God created the conditions for life to emerge. No, that's not what it describes at all. It says he literally makes it from scratch. Doesn't create the conditions for that to arrive. So he got that wrong.
To be fair, he has qualified this with a description of the people in this instance are going to be the biblical reading heliocentrists. I don't know how better to phrase that. So it has had a bit of a preface put in regards to how he's describing this.
This idea cannot be overlooked, as the universe's vastness and complexities unveiled by the Big Bang Theory only prove
They're not unveiled by a Big Bang Theory. Number one, theories would come out of scientific validity. This isn't that. It's just so story. Don't know. Nothing's coming out of it.
that there had to be a creator of far superior intelligence and depth of understanding. The universe is such that everything required to support life in any way is placed exactly where it is supposed to be.
Okay, I don't disagree with that.
Goldilocks
Even the
zone.
minute
Oh, yeah, well, if in heliocentrism, they call us in the world, in the band that we occupy, the Goldilocks zone. But that's not how it was just phrased when he's talking about everything being in perfect harmony.
minutest misalignment or shift from the normal would bring about a massive catastrophe that could destroy the planets. This
Planets? What, as in the lights in the sky that are presumed to be soil? No.
level of precision forces us to ponder the universe's design and purpose, and more importantly, the existence of a higher power who may have orchestrated it all. While
May have. No, that's answered in the ontological primitives. You can't have nature creating the world that we exist in, because nature can't violate its own rules of nature. The laws of nature, in this respect, the first law of thermodynamics, would be violated if nature created itself. Well, you've only got two outcomes, or two possible beginnings in that regard. One is there was an external entity that created what we know as, let's call it the known universe. Or two, nature created itself. By chance. Like a Big Bang. Just poofed itself into existence, violating the first law of nature. So nature violated the first law of nature to create nature. Or there was an external entity creating us. There is only one answer to that. There was an external entity. Nature can't violate laws of nature to create nature.
the Big Bang has brought us closer to understanding.
I'm holding.
Not only that, Nathan, in the Bible, it talks about how God rested on the seventh day because he finished with all creation. So where are all these black holes coming from?
There aren't any black holes, Neil. It's a description in a pseudo 4D time dilating realm that we don't actually experience in physical reality. So
Exactly.
Yeah, black holes only exist in 3D from a two-dimensional perspective. It's quite ridiculous like that.
Right. Yeah, but they're going to hold on to a creator creating it, and then they want to hold on to black holes forming out of nowhere.
that was
it's
sharp.
ridiculous.
Arwin just described how black holes are a three-dimensional concept described from a two-dimensional perspective. Very, very good. Because that, when describing time, will be scaled up so that you would have to picture being in the 2D realm, describing the 3D realm. That's a black hole in Arwin's description. But we're not. We're in a 3D realm because the black hole itself is a warping of the fourth dimension that we can't experience. What's that you say? Can't experience? No, but if you imagine you're two-dimensional, You wouldn't know what the 3D was like. So now that you know you are 3D, you don't know what the 4D's like. That's the bit that's got the bendy time dilating black hole going on in it in the maths, the pseudo-maths, the pseudo-geometry of this realm we don't exist in. How sharp are we?
Understanding how our universe came to be, it also leaves so many questions unanswered. One of the biggest questions here is, what caused the Big Bang?
Well, that's the ontological primitives if you want to automatically assume that there is a Big Bang. So semi-ontological with a beg in the question that we have got a Big Bang at the beginning of it. So what caused the it's got to be nature creating itself answer to the ontological primitives? Nature can't create itself. Ergo, there wasn't a Big Bang. But in this description, it's automatically assumed. That's a begging the question fallacy.
The Big Bang theory explains with a flourish the effects and repercussions of the Big Bang, but barely provides an answer to what caused the dense ball of hot matter to explode in the first place.
What dense ball of hot matter? Oh, the one that they invented in the story. So, what caused, me talking about the argon gas layer is all well and good when we're not being attacked by unicorns. But what put the unicorns there in the first place, gentlemen? I mean, that really is the fundamental question we should be asking ourselves, should we not? How did the unicorns come to be? Has no one asked this? It's asking these fundamental unicorn-based questions that puts us where we are today with the unicorn argon gas theory. I mean, it's only raised more questions about where the unicorns came from after all, but we are getting closer and closer to answers about the argon gas layer and about the non-unicorn attacks that we don't experience. We wouldn't expect to experience them after all. Shout out to Goldie, who gifted 1 membership. And whoever picked that up, you can shout out Goldie or thank her. Thanks for the support. Really appreciate it. Everything's a bit of a mess on screen if you're wondering why it's suddenly a bit of an awkward pause.
Oh, by the
As
way,
there can be
Nathan,
no
Yes.
some moderating news. Have you checked like the rollout box? Right, you can choose top chat and live chat. There's another version of it that lets you exclusively see all the super chats that have happened, and not
right.
any other text.
So on this screen, I could just have super chats.
Yeah, you can choose that now and go back.
Not on mine. It's just a toggle timestamps. Okay.
Oh.
Oh well. Not to worry. Participants. Maybe it's in there. No. Okay, not to worry.
It's on the top bar where it says top chat or
This
live
is
chat.
a wonderful chat for a live show. I mean, let's discuss this
All right.
for a bit
Well,
longer.
At least that's real. It's this waffle of this nonsense. Of
I want to get back to the Argon unicorns. Sounds fun.
Tell me about
because
the
there
Argon
always
unicorns.
were Argon unicorns, right? It's just at the beginning of time they were so dense they couldn't move. It's only after the Big Bang that you get the effects of the Argon unicorns.
I don't like this. You're just taking the mickey out of it, right? There's no argon unicorns. There's an argon layer protecting us from the unicorns. So don't just call them argon unicorns. It makes it sound silly.
Yeah. And
Oh my bad.
Back then, there was everything was so compacted that you couldn't really tell the difference between argon and the unicorn. Because no one
You're
could,
just
it was
making
all
that up.
dead.
That's just
look,
some story you
facts.
made up. Don't
Look.
ruin the rhetoric, right? Making a mockery of it's not going to stand here.
Guys, in the face of this new unicorn evidence, we have to rename the Big Bang into the Great Unicorn Stampede.
What do they have in Scientology? It's thetans, isn't it? Maybe if we change it to thetans, we're being protected from thetans by the argon layer. Then just incorporate that into, or is that just Scientology? Will I just be basically punting Scientology at that point?
vacuum in
We're
knowledge
bringing the
or
Polonian people, Owen.
There's also the Polonian people and the dozers.
Now that came later, but maybe let's continue the video.
anything at all, Theologists and philosophers have taken on the challenge of filling the knowledge gap with raging discussions on what could be the ultimate source of the universe's existence. However, this is not all.
It gets worse. There's more.
Very nature of time is another mystery the Big Bang Theory brought to the fore.
No, it hijacked an already in existence description or convention derived from celestial movements to give us the idea of how things elapse in what, again, we will call the known universe. Now, that description or convention is time. What Big Bang has as a consequence of four-dimensional time as a dimension is the descriptions you're going to now parrot off in terms of what Big Bang gave us when you have no idea what the origins of the world are, and this description violates the first law of thermodynamics.
According to the theory,
Not a theory. It would have scientific validity to back if it was.
time, in its infiniteness, began.
Time in its infiniteness. Time's a way we describe how our lives elapse in the known universe. It's derived, the convention, from the movement of the celestial items that we observe.
After the Big Bang, and this begs the question, what if there was something or a being that existed outside the concept and limitation of time itself?
So while this is a begging the question fallacy at face value, when he says that begs the question, I disagree that that's a correct use. That raises the question of, within my paradigm, that begs the question. But that's a bit overly complicated for your average Joe audience member, so we'll probably leave that one for another day. Go on.
Yeah,
Adam.
but Nathan, a lot of people out there that do stories say beg the question when they basically mean raises the question. It's a new lingo thing. It's pop language.
Yeah,
a lot of people
the
say that.
It's the non-fallacious use of that phrase, as opposed to it detecting a fallacy. It's just raising the question. So yeah, you're right.
Is it possible that something exists outside our observable universe?
So we have an observable.
Is he trying to describe God here?
No, but let's just answer his question in the most simplistic manner, Adam. Do we have things that exist beyond the physical universe? I'd just ask you to think about that for a moment, Adam, before you answer the question.
Whoa.
Outside of unicorns?
Outside of physical existence. So they're talking about the physical realm because they've got a nihilistic, if that's the right term, religion. So in their religion, it excludes the supernatural in any form. So communication, thoughts, it's like they don't exist in a physical. Give me the weight of a thought.
Right, it's materialistic, and I think that information and all that is and even consciousness is a accidental, aberrant side effect of the material.
I'm glad you're here. Exactly, it's a byproduct in their worldview. Well put. I'm glad Arwin's here. Yes. What was the word you used, Arwin? There was just before we get to Adam. Sorry, there was a word you just used that was better than the one I used. What's the word?
Materialism.
Materialism. Exactly. I said nihilism. It's materialism. It makes everything about the material. Go ahead, Adam.
That was the point that made me say, are they trying to describe God? He's trying to suggest now something could be the instigation of all physical matter, and it sits outside of that realm that in their paradigm doesn't exist.
Exactly.
But it would have to, because we have matter and energy here.
Well, they're postulating that as the cause now of the Big Bang, isn't it? And it sits outside of that, and that's what an instigator of the Big Bang is. You can still have your Big Bang, but you've got the problem, haven't you, of what creates the Big Bang. So they're now suggesting that let's just go back to a realm, a dimensionality outside of physicality, even though they deny everything outside of physicality.
Right. But it's a kind of self-defeating infinite regress, isn't it, Adam?
Well, it's a call to a creator, isn't it? Ultimately,
that's what I mean by self-defeating. If you're going to appeal to something outside of your physical realm, when you've got a physical bias in terms of your description of that realm, then it's self-defeating because you're appealing to an outside entity. It's like, so you're conceding there's a creator then. Oh, quick shout out to Goldie, just supporting the channel, a bit of flat AF from South Florida. Thank you very much. Really appreciate the support.
Universe. But beyond that, even if there are things out there, there's no way we can see them because the light just could not have gotten to us.
That's not how light behaves, though. So this is working from the standpoint of having a speed of light, or a two-way speed of light. Well, again, within the Einsteinian mechanics of pseudo-force space-time, and time with a speed attributable to it, well, these notions have been proven incorrect with quantum mechanics. So all we're doing is using this dusty old heliocentric worldview and religion to describe how far things are and how fast they go in a vastly ever-expanding space that gas isn't expanding into. So what we're really hearing here is priests, just religious rhetoric. It's really all we're getting here. Wouldn't you agree, Arwin? This is just religious rhetoric from priests.
Yes, and also it's based on both that light has a speed and that the universe, everything in it, is expanding in relation to each other, and that certain things that are at too much of a distance, you would never pick up on it because the speed of light would never overcome the expansion between, basically.
Right, beyond
It
the
would
redshift.
expand faster than the light could move, according to their claim.
Right, so if it's expanding out at a rate beyond the speed that the light is traveling, there's a point beyond the redshift, I think is what they describe it, with a Doppler effect, where you just can't see anymore because the light can't reach you. It can't catch up with the expansion, therefore you don't see anything beyond a certain point. Maybe that's where they're saying that the rhetoric's going to change. What they previously described as the microwave background, maybe they're going to say that time exists beyond that. And they could have just because we can't see is what he just said, right? This is perhaps where this is leading. Did you listen beyond this for about the 5-minute mark? No, I'll take that as a no.
By now.
Besides the theory's inability to explain cause of the Big Bang, it has also failed to explain some other phenomena, including the existence of dark energy and
Is dark energy a phenomena? What's dark energy?
No, it's a fix for a mathematical problem. So
it's a phenomena.
Exist per se. It's just the calculations that they used first round had massive errors in them. To account for those errors to keep the original theory, you have to create dark energy to fill the void in the maths.
This is kind of giving his hand away, really. It's not his fault as a narrator. Whoever's written this is just giving the game away, because he's essentially saying the phenomena can't be explained. Like, the phenomena doesn't exist. It's an apologetic in a mathematics. So it's not actually something in existence. It's something they might be searching for because they have to have it in some maths that doesn't balance itself out. But he's just said it can't explain that phenomena. Like, describing something that you need to make your maths work conjures it into physical existence. And then that physical existence of the thing that was just a problem in maths needs explaining, or the failure to do just that, explain this quote-unquote phenomena, is a highlightable error. It's like, there isn't a phenomena. But in saying this theory fails to explain that phenomena, it does succeed in conjuring the existence of that quote-unquote phenomena in the mind's eye of the listener. Oh, right, so there is a phenomena, it's just this theory doesn't explain it. What's the phenomena? Dark energy. Oh, right. It's all black magic and doublespeak and conjuring the existence of things in reality from a need to have them in a maths that doesn't work. It's very complicated and very tiring, but that's the world we live in, right? Create phenomena out of nothing because you acquire it in your maths that fails.
Right, and then make it completely undetectable. It's like, oh, we need this thing to be in there for the formulas to work out, but we don't want to be responsible to actually like have something tangible for its place. So we're just going to say, well, it's invisible, it's undetectable, but it's definitely there, though.
But there's a fair chance that one day we'll see a line and a dot on a screen. We'll all cheer and go, oh, we were right all along. There it is.
Exactly. A squiggly line, man.
There it is. You see this squiggly line? Flash up squiggly lines on a monitor in some laboratory-looking environment for a split second. There it is. It's the God particle, antimatter, dark energy, gravity, graviton, whatever you like. What do we need in our maths that doesn't work? We need one of these. We will set about finding one, and we will provide you with the picture of an old CRT monitor with dots and lines on it, and that will be the proof. God particle, no problem. I'll be right on it. Go, science!
Matter. One would think that there would be an explanation for the things that make up most of our universe.
An explanation for the dark energy that they say creates the majority of our universe. No, we wouldn't need an explanation for that. Like, I don't need an explanation for the unicorns that make up the majority of the perimeter of Earth waiting to attack us. It's equally absurd.
But strangely, we still know very little about them.
What about the dark energy that's just been invented and isn't a real thing? Oh, isn't that interesting?
This knowledge gap makes it all the more obvious that there is still much about our universe that...
No, not about what I'm calling the universe. The stuff that exists in our quote-unquote known universe. Right? That isn't what you're describing when you say we should know something about this invented idea that has no proof and overcomes a problem in some maths that doesn't work. We've got to have some information on it. Yeah, we need the unicorn information. I want to know the anatomy of those unicorns quick sharp. We should know something about them.
That we do not yet know. This implies that further exploration would reveal more about the universe than humanity has.
Just mixing up words to make it sound like you're doing things physically in the physical universe when he talks about this.
Ever known. The James Webb Telescope is a 21st century wonder. It is the successor of the famous Hubble telescope. The James Webb Telescope is a...
Cut to a picture of a painting.
Technological marvel made to obtain a deeper understanding of our...
And yet we can't get a picture of it. I mean, it's so technologically ace that once put into commission, we stopped worrying about getting photos of it. What gives? Surely you'd want to see it in operation. It's the Emperor's new clothes, isn't it? Yeah, here it is. Look, this wonder. Where are you going to put it? In orbit? Wink, wink. When it's there, CGI pictures only.
Our cosmos. It is equipped with state-of-the-art instruments with cutting-edge engineering.
Yeah, the thing on the ground, I bet it had a lot of work put in it. The one picture that you showed us of something real looked wicked. I mean, it looks so technologically advanced, it was outrageous, man. It's a shame it's not falling around a ball Earth in a vacuum, because we'd all be dead.
The James Webb Telescope is twice as flamboyant as the Hubble telescope. At the heart...
Is that a good word for a telescope, flamboyant? Oh, I love looking at space.
Part of the telescope.
That's a weird word choice.
Oh, you get out with your word choice, Adam. Oh, wow.
Did they paint it all up and everything?
It's a very flamboyant telescope.
Is the primary mirror. The mirror is an astonishing 6...
Oh, I look in the mirror. I look fabulous. Hey, Brian.
Hey, Nathan.
6.5 meters in diameter, surpassing the...
It's for Pride Week, I think.
Pride Week? Oh, I see. Yes. This telescope is very brave.
Hubble telescope's 2.4 meters. The Webb telescope's larger mirror means its ability to capture more light is significantly higher, increasing sensitivity and providing unparalleled resolution in the infrared spectrum.
And yet we can't get a picture of it doing it. Here it is in CGI. What gives? Shouldn't it be in quote-unquote orbit? Isn't that where this resides? Oh, we can't get a picture of it once it's there. All right. Why? I know. It's because once things go through the wardrobe to Narnia, very difficult to get pictures of them once they're there. You know, all the film in the cameras immediately dissolves as soon as you go through the wardrobe door. Obviously, we couldn't just get pictures of it. It's moving at 70,000 miles an hour, or whatever they claim. Right? Is that right?
The magnificent light mirror is not all there is to the James Webb Telescope. Amongst the Webb telescope suite of scientific instruments are
Got Wi-Fi, can make coffee. Wicked.
the near-infrared camera, the near-infrared spectrograph, and the mid-infrared instrument.
The mid-infrared instrument. I mean, that sounds so cool.
Of the art instruments work in perfect synchronicity.
Wow.
And because of this, scientists as well as astronomers can
What? Scientists? What are the scientists doing? Are they establishing the cause and effect reasoning that we would do with a hypothesis-based experiment? I think not.
delve deeper into the cosmos's mysteries by
notice-
Ed?
Sorry, did you notice that they said scientists as well as astronomers?
Yeah. 'cause
Yes,
then-
I caught that, Brian.
right, what Brian's highlighting is even by this narrator's standards, astronomers aren't scientists.
Bit like is that that's the office politics going off there?
It could be. I think that
Bit
whoever wrote
science.
this for the narrator, the guy with the voice, that it was a time of war. He doesn't give a crap. He's just like, yeah, I'll read out your garbage. That'll be 50 quid, $50.
capturing extremely detailed images, collecting spectroscopic data, and can explore celestial phenomena across a wider range of wavelengths.
Wow.
Wow,
telescope.
celestial spectroscopy. Oh,
Yeah.
so effective.
Yeah, Helio would have a great voice with things like this.
What do you reckon? Have we done enough of this, Arwen? I know you probably only got 3 or 4 minutes in. Do we need more? You don't know. 'cause you've
I'd
not...
like more. I'm very curious. I mean, they started out saying that the Big Bang Theory was all disproven. And then they explain everything about the Big Bang Theory and how it, So I'm kind of curious as to how it's going to round out its argument, or if it's basically not going to address it, really. I'm just kind of curious as to where this is going.
Why didn't you watch the whole video? You are no 10th man replacement. You know that.
True.
We might get into a bit more of it in the after show, I think. But I think on that note, I'm going to round out and say, if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Premiering streams, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, though, if you are watching this live, this is where we bid you farewell. So another massive thank you to all of you who smashed the super chat, liked, commented, shared, subscribed, joined as a member, gifted memberships as Goldie did, and all that good stuff. Once again, stay tuned if you're watching on an after show. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.
What a lovely day!
Dum, dum,
Think
dum,
one-
dum, dum.
Alrighty then.
Nathan, you want to continue the video or you want to save it for tomorrow?
Save it for tomorrow.
What?
Yeah, we'll save it tomorrow.
Ah, right. Okay.
Just figured out what was making the computer shit the bed. So it's just the graphics card. I turned it down, as like always. Everything's about turning things down. So I've turned it down probably a bit too much. So it was at 95% and I just turned it down to 90%. And obviously at 90% it shit the bed. So, oh well.
Have you got these numbers written down in a little book?
Yeah. Yeah, I've got about 25, 30 pages of notes. I'm not even joking. I'll send them to you if you want. Are you interested?
No, I was interested to see whether you were. I figured you would be that fastidious with it.
Yeah, because sometimes when you panic, you you do the cardinal sin of anything when you're troubleshooting, which is changing more than one thing. I have a terrible habit of doing that when something goes wrong and I'm about to go live. Then I'll go, turn it all up. It's not down, it's up when things go wrong, as strange as that may sound. I won't get into it, but turn all the voltages up. Just brute force everything. It's going to overheat, but just pray it just doesn't. And then
Mega
eventually it
thrusters
overheats.
are go. Sorry, that was my Voltron.
Is that similar to the American way of fixing things? When something's not working right, you bang it?
No, not exactly. It's a good. I like the engine comparison. If you're running an engine really lean, you're giving it as little fuel as possible. Eventually, it goes bang. Blows up. Right. Well, that's the same with a computer. If you run it with too little voltage, eventually it falls over. So, I'm trying to reduce the voltages as much as possible to keep the heat out of the system, and then it'll not have enough voltage and fall over for that reason. So that was the case today with the graphics card. So I'm now at the point where I know I've got the CPU stable. I know I've got the RAM stable. So there's only one thing it can be. That's the graphics card. Fine. At least I'm only working with one thing at a time now. It's always seemed like the light at the end of the tunnel, but there we go. Enough about PCs. 8 months of it. I'm sure you're all very bored of it.
Nathan, I have something for you.
You have something for me? Oh, sounds good.
Yeah, I agreed with everyone else on a point that was made about certain sciences, that we need a new noun, because I agree with you that these certain sciences don't do proper scientific methods, such as archaeology, the study of culture's materialistic leavings. So I agree, we need a new noun.
It's already got one.
Pseudoscience.
Pseudoscience.
Only if it's purporting to
disagree.
be so.
Pseudoscience, from my understanding, it tries to puff its chest. It's more of a study, I'd say, than a pseudoscience. It's the study of things.
No,
it's just not a science.
Do you know what the definition of pseudoscience is?
I looked it up the other day.
I know.
Collection of beliefs or practices mistakenly regarded as being based on scientific method. Oh, technically that does then fit, doesn't it?
Yes, sir.
That's such a horrible word.
So just for clarity, before you waffle through every word I say. So when we're talking about what did you call them? The sciences that don't adhere to the scientific. My bad. There's him waffling through me immediately. We'll just make the conclusion that basically eradicates your point, my friend. You're gonna struggle to tolerate it. I can sense it immediately. Yeah. So when we're talking about what you described as the quote sciences that don't adhere to the scientific method, it would be a claim of science that hasn't adhered to the scientific method as defined when you define what pseudoscience is. Therefore, we don't need a new noun. They are, by definition, the pseudosciences, because they're calling themselves, quote, science, and they haven't applied the scientific method. Therefore, the definition is absolutely clear. They are pseudosciences. Did you say archaeology? That's a pseudoscience.
Yeah, and doing a bit more googling.
Yeah. So we don't need a new noun.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Good.
We need to
I've
go
just
back
googled a bit,
about
list to
50 or
categorise the
60 years.
pseudoscience, and astronomy's there, which was the other one on the list. So yeah, we
What,
have a word.
the pseudosciences.
People take pseudoscience wrong.
The pseudosciences.
Yeah.
If we go back,
like
before the
astrophysics.
hijacking.
Yeah, like astrophysics, the pseudoscience. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've genuinely learned something today.
That your religion's based on a pseudoscience. Astrophysics. Yeah, it's all pseudoscience, mate. Shocking, isn't it?
Well, no. I understand.
Yeah, it's shocking to you because you thought we needed a new noun. And then when I defined it as being a pseudoscience, you went all high-pitched and told us it was new and exciting. So yeah, it's all new and exciting that astrophysics, the basis of heliocentrism, is in fact a pseudoscience. Yeah.
my understanding of pseudoscience was like something that tries to find.
It's something that claims to be science when it isn't and hasn't adhered to the scientific method. We just defined it. We don't need to go through what you understand it to be because we just defined it, didn't we?
Okay, that's quite aggressive.
Yeah, so shut up. I don't want to hear what you think it is. You're wrong. You didn't know. And then we've told you and you've got all excited about it. Now you can shut up.
That's well of a way to make someone learn. Wow.
What, telling them to shut up when they don't know and shouldn't be talking about the stuff they don't know? They should be listening to the people who do? Yeah, I'll tell you to shut your mouth because you're ignorant. You don't know what you're talking about. You thought you knew what science was because you looked it up a few days ago, and then you were all shocked and shaken when you found out that the religion you have in heliocentrism is based on a pseudoscience. The quote by you, sciences, that don't adhere to the scientific method, making them pseudoscience by definition. We've done this twice. So maybe sit down and shut up. You don't have anything to offer. We don't want to know what you thought it meant because you're ignorant. Okay?
May I ask a different question?
You may.
Can a pseudoscience still give results?
Not empirical ones. Ones that we would care about.
Thank you.
They can give you presuppositional results.
Not much use in those, unless you've got a religion.
I would say that pseudoscience is not all bad, but it depends on where the results are coming from and what pre-assumptions came before the results. Because the pre-assumptions are the problem. Not all pseudoscience is bad. Go on.
I said earlier, if we could go back 60, 70 years before we get this mass misappropriation of the word science and everybody wanting it as a title, I'm a scientist. People didn't identify like that. There would be scientists. You didn't go, I'm a scientist. You went, I'm a molecular biologist. I'm an astrophysicist. It doesn't, but at that point, you're not invoking what we have an objection to, which is the science to claim the validity of science. Psychologists wouldn't claim they're a scientist back in the day, but now they're attributed to that. It's this gifting away and accepting of the title that then puts the credentials into pseudoscience, even though if you look at psychology, it's not a science. It professes not to be a science. The first thing I learned, But if you then go away and take what psychology does with all the validity it has in its field and express it as saying, this is a scientifically proven psychological theory, that's when it becomes pseudoscience, because it's purporting to use science as its authority. It's had empiricism to give it extra validity. It's psychology, it can't. That's when it becomes bad. And that's, like I say, something that's been adopted more and more and more. Back when I was a kid, technology, was the word that was used to differentiate when we've got bits of great kit. There's no science in it until the 80s, when Zanussi starts going the appliance of science. It's not, it's the appliance of technology, development of technology. And when you then call that science, that makes you a pseudoscientist trying to claim that is science. It's the, as you use the phrase, it's the hijacking of the valor of science that makes it the pseudoscience.
Stolen valor.
Yeah. Some things can't be put through scientific method, so they're just always going to be pseudoscience. But that doesn't mean they're always bad. But if you're going to pre-assume a load of stuff, that's when the problem starts. Because if I'm going to make a load of pre-assumptions and then come to a conclusion via, let's just say that's built on pre-assumptions that I haven't personally validated, and I don't know of anyone else that actually validated them, that's the problem. Because then pseudoscience becomes bad. Then that is bad, because if I'm going to start promoting what I'm talking about as science, or what I'm promoting my colloquial theory as science, and it's only built on a load of, it might have a logical background, it might have I might have used logical inference, but after I used illogical pre-assumptions. That's often what
Example of a
happens.
pseudoscience.
Sorry, Neil?
Give me an example of a pseudoscience.
Well, archaeology and astrophysics are both pseudosciences. But that doesn't mean that archaeology always has nothing to give you. But when it comes to astrophysics, I don't know what astrophysics has to give us, because astrophysics is built on so many pre-assumptions. So what have we gained from astrophysics? If we take all heliocentrism and anything like that out of it, what have we gained from it?
Well,
Now,
it gave us science fiction.
Yeah.
So
but-
archaeology, you could pretty much get in the dirt, but astrophysics, astrophysics you can't. Is that what you're saying?
Good pun,
Not
that,
exactly.
Neil, by the way. Get in the dirt.
Yeah. Go on, Adam.
No, there's nothing wrong with the field of archaeology. Yeah? It's archaeology. That's what it is. It's not science. It's archaeology. It applies different standards to draw different conclusions. Yeah? Best guesswork. That's what archaeology is. Trying to put together the bits of information you've got as a best guess. And there's nothing wrong with that because you can't science it.
I'm really sorry, Adam. That's not strictly true, because they can date the rocks.
No.
They do.
So
They're based on the fossils that they found.
I know, and they date the
That's paleo.
And how do they date the fossils?
By the rocks that they found.
So that would be
It's a different field.
Yeah, that would be a point where they go in to pseudoscience. They would claim that pseudo. But even that in of itself, if you don't claim it's science, it's just a methodology of dating, you can critique it. But it's when you claim that you've just done some science to prove the age of that rock that it's the issue. Yeah, it's not. It's a technique it's based in circular logic for paleoarchaeology. But I'm talking about for uncovering pots and all these things where you try to build a story around it, a history around it, and the history is the same. They're very different standards, and it's nothing wrong with those standards in that field, unless you then say, I've scientifically proven history. It becomes nonsensical because the field itself isn't elucidating a cause and effect. It's trying to put together a story, isn't it? It's not its purpose. So you wouldn't use the methodology of science to evaluate it.
Okay, so what about astrophysicists? What do you do with that? You can only look at that stuff, right?
Yeah. So that, to me, would be the epitome of pseudoscience, because in of its field, it recognizes it can't manipulate and vary.
I would say astrophysics is the most pseudo of all the pseudosciences.
Agreed.
Because there's at least, like, astronomy has something, whereas astrophysics goes into, it's just theoretical based on pre-assumptions, and it goes into all kinds of, pardon the pun, wormholes, come up with all kinds of crazy theories, colloquial theories that are based on pre-assumptions about stuff that was never validated or verified. Whereas at least astronomy is around a long time, and it has validity. You know, the only problem with anything that's a pseudoscience, archaeology, astrology, I'm going to keep astrophysics out of it because they don't really give us anything. The only problem is that when they start adding pre-assumptions, like if I'm an archaeologist and I start deciding that the Earth is X amount of years old and the human race is X amount of years old, you know, and we live on a planet, and it's all these pre-assumptions, and then I'm coming to a conclusion with something I found that's completely built on pre-assumptions. Yeah, I might have found a physical object, but my pre-assumptions and what my public statement concerning it will be tainted by all the pre-assumptions I have. And when they start adding in stuff to support beliefs like evolution, when they start talking about how old this bone is from this animal, and this kind of thing, it's like that's when things start becoming very, very loose and dangerous. because they're taking the term science and they just based. I won't. They're saying they're using that term science and the term scientist to it's like gain public trust,
credibility,
or the public start to trust scientists, but then they also start to be intimidated by them, and so they can kind of make whatever claim they want, and that's where the problem. They're not doing archaeology; they're doing belief digging. If you understand what I mean. And the same with astronomy. When they start going off into a belief, why don't you just do astronomy? What's wrong with that?
That pretty much clears it up. And what's the study of rocks? Is that geology or something? I got that right, or?
Yeah, that geology. But geology, see, there you go. They're dealing with a belief of a molten iron core and things like that. So geology is poisoned from the start. Because they're dealing with mantles and all this that they believe is going on. There's a guy who was commenting, trolling basically me for a long time, and he's a geologist. I haven't seen him lately, and he's convinced that he's a scientist. And I said, "You're not a scientist." You know what I mean? He starts telling me about all these things he's doing and all the things they know, and it's all crazy nonsense that nobody knows.
But isn't that based on like the pressure, something to do with pressure that causes the rocks to become rocks?
They work with the whole P waves and S waves and all that. I'm sorry.
Now, geologists are there for disaster movies to tell you like how something is going to end up destroying the ball Earth, right? That's what they're there for.
Can I switch gears for a second?
I'm going to go.
Only if you're going to start talking
I'm
about
going with no.
Not if you're driving a automatic.
Are you thinking no?
I'm going to go with yes.
It was that Yenigins that brought up the pseudosciences.
Yes.
Is he still here?
Yes.
No, not here. Invisible. I've gone.
Have you figured out what a triangle is overnight?
Oh, I'm not going there again.
That's all I had. Thank you.
Wise decision.
What does Yin think about what we've been saying about things like archaeology from a baller's point of view?
Oh, archaeology is supposed to really be reinforcing the evolution-based part of the cosmology.
You sound like Yenigins.
Oh, what's a question to him? Okay.
Is that how you pronounce your name, Yenigins? Are we saying that correctly?
It used to have a space. It's supposed to be yin o gun, so yin is sufficient.
Just yin?
Yeah, like yin and yang.
Yeah, I was going to say, where's Yang?
I killed him. Duh. Can't be two of us.
All right. Brian asked you a question about what he was talking about, the pseudosciences. Do you understand why they're pseudosciences?
Apologies, I missed the question, but I understand it a lot more, I believe, now, yes. I'm kind of background listening at the moment while I work.
Okay. Are you working on triangles?
No.
Dang, Radistines.
No, Erastophanes.
Ah, damn it.
Dang,
Erastophanes. I have to hear it a couple more times.
I do have
And
one question I
Pythagoras.
wanted to ask.
Say again?
I do have one question I've been wanting to ask.
Oh, then go.
If this is an appropriate time to ask it.
Go for it.
So, this is probably going to be the most naivest question, so completely fine if there's reasons around it, but I have to ask it. If a sphere is observed from a distance, the edge looks circular. If a flat circle, like a flat cylinder, is observed from a distance, the edge also looks curved. So why are we looking for straight edges from space photos? Would one not expect a curved edge?
Space photos.
What photos?
So
But what do you
images from
mean by
space,
space
which, okay,
photos?
the whole thing about not going to space and all that. But if we take a photo from high enough on a sphere, we would see a curved horizon. But if you did that on a circular plane, it would also be curved in the distance. A straight horizon, per se, would be like a rectangular plane. So why would a flat horizon
It would
be seen on
still
the
slightly
photos?
be below eye level, though.
Hold on a second, Arwen. Not to be pedantic, but a curved horizon?
Yep.
You've seen the photos from space, whether or not you believe in them, that have a curve to them. It is
I haven't seen
curved
any
edge
photos
of the
from
Earth.
space. I haven't
You
seen
mean
any.
a fisheye lens?
Yeah, I haven't seen
Regardless,
any
it's
photos
not.
from space.
It's
you
not
post
about the
one?
fisheye lens or anything. It's just about the argument. Why would you? Why would you? Because I've seen photos that say like, "Oh, look, it's flat. It's straight. It's
So
a straight
photos are saying.
edge to the space photo."
Yeah.
But wouldn't
Okay.
you expect a curved edge to a circular plane?
You just keep on going. So photos are saying now.
No, but
Sorry?
look, I can address
Can we
it.
just
Hold
have
on.
QE and just QE and Yin?
Okay.
So you said photos are saying. The photos say, where are these photos taken from again? Space?
It's not about where they're taken. I don't care if they're actually all CGI. Fine, okay. It's purely to the argument that if we were, well, let's say we are, if we're stood on a flat plane that is a circle from a top perspective, if you were up high enough to take a photo, then that edge would look curved from that perspective. So I don't understand seeing a straight horizon from a space photo and going, oh, look, it's flat. Because would you not expect it to be curved if it's a circle? Like looking down at a dinner plate. The dinner plate looks
If it's a
circular
circle,
to you.
but if it's a circle, who said a flat plane has to be a circle?
And that's fine with me as well. So you would be looking for either a curve or it to go so far it enters an absolute vanishing point that you can't discern an edge. Yes?
So this is a hypothetical.
Yep.
Can I just
Yeah,
ask?
it is indeed a hypothetical. So hypothetically, if we were on a curved plane, we would either see a curve, or if it was rectangular, we'd see a straight line. But we'd see a corner in one direction, or it would just be infinite.
There's a flaw.
Those would be the three
A
expectations,
curved
I think.
plane?
There's a flaw there. Yes,
Yeah, you
there's
can't
a
see that
flaw.
far.
The problem is that you could go up very high, let's just say in a high altitude balloon, right? And you can look around you and what you see will be a circle because your eyes and optics, or even if you're using optics, even if you use lens correction, you will still have the barrel distortion, either of your eyes or of the optics. So no matter what if you're going up over a totally flat plane, that plane can be a total square. But all you will see, right, depending on the size of the plane, obviously. But if we're talking about a plane the size of, I don't know, the size of the Earth, just one flat plane, you're always going to see a circle because you'll never be able to see the edges because it's going to be too far away. So from your perception, it's always going to be a disc. No matter what, it's always going to be a disc. So it will appear curved even if it's not over a flat plane. Whereas a sphere obviously will appear curved because it's a sphere, can't not. Whereas, but even if you went up high over a very, very large sphere, it's still going to, although it won't be, the horizon will constantly drop down at a much greater rate, but you will still see a circle. So the only difference is the rate that the horizon drops at. That would be the only difference in your perception.
So you agree that in both models, you would expect a curved edge to your perception of the Earth.
Tunnels now. This line of
That's what he
questioning.
said. You would see a curve in both cases, no?
Where in both cases? In what both cases? You'd have to be close to the heretofore edges of whatever you're talking about in your model, right?
Close enough to the edge of the circle to see the edge of the circle is what you're saying, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can agree with that. So you would either see a curved edge or land that goes beyond your perception. So you would see no edge because there's just land before you could see it.
A vanishing point.
That makes no sense. You can't have land before you can see it. What does that mean?
No, so as a very basic example, if you see, as a very basic example, if you have your dinner plate, that's a flat plane, that's a circle, you can see the edge. But if your dinner plate was Jesus big, so it just went on forever, from what your eyes can see, it would enter the vanishing point. So that plate would seem to never end. You wouldn't be able to say if that plate was square or circular, because there are weird people who have square plates. So that's what I mean. It would either go on so long that you would not see the edge of the plate, or you can see the edge of the plate, and it will be a distinct shape. It would be a circle, or, I mean, what I say is a straight edge would mean there'd have to be a corner in one of the other perspectives.
What's your point?
The hell?
So
No,
what's your
it would
point?
be a horizon line
Hold on, Owen.
around you.
What's your point?
So when we point at these images of a straight horizon from photos from space, I'm questioning why we're going, oh, look, it's straight. When on a circular plane, you would expect it to.
You're missing something.
Here's the issue.
Let's just address that.
And Monty, the clothes just came off. Photos from space. We're back to that.
Yeah, that's the problem.
What?
Hold on, Guy. So the initial objection raised by QE was that we haven't got any pictures from space. And you were like, well, hypothetically. Okay. But now you're saying, well, when we've got the pictures from space, what's wrong with... Well, okay, well, I mean, in a hypothetical discussion, who cares? It's not in any way correlative to the nature of our reality, so who cares? What's your point?
My point is that people point and prod and go, a straight horizon. Why not just dismiss them all instead?
I
if we don't
see.
care?
Gotcha.
No,
oh, right.
I know what
we
the
don't
problem is.
we don't do that.
Can I just explain it?
Yeah, but we
Can I
don't do
explain
that.
it?
We didn't do that, did we?
Yeah.
You said people do that. Yeah, we didn't.
Yeah.
So immediately your stereotyping fallacies failed because we didn't do that. What we did do was point out how space, the place you think we should argue about these images, isn't real. So does it matter? I mean, we could argue about what happens in Narnia all day long, but Narnia's not real. You understand that now? I mean, I know you think most people talk about the curved edge of horizon or whether it is or shouldn't be or should. We just point out that your pictures are in a place that isn't real. And that's the end of the discussion. Cool, huh?
Yin, I know what the issue
I don't
is
just let him
now.
respond.
Oh, sorry.
There was no need to point out that the pictures weren't real because I pre-proposed that let's imagine these photos if they're CGI or not.
Oh, okay. So should we imagine that Narnia's real and have a little debate about how it works? Does that sound like fun? No, that sounds like idiocy and childish behaviour where we discuss Fantasyland. No, we don't do that. You might like discussing Fantasyland, but we just point out how it's a Fantasyland, making every question you asked about Fantasyland moot.
So we should never discuss the flat Earth or the globe.
No. What
One
we
of them
do
is a
is
fantasy.
we try and get people like yourself to say, I understand that space isn't real. And where you use twice the word pictures from Narnia, I mean space, they're not pictures. Because you can't take pictures in Narnia, I mean space, because it isn't real. We demonstrate how it isn't real only for you to tell us that we should hypothesize how it is real. For an example that we should be listening to, when it's entirely moot, because the place that we're arguing about wouldn't be real. So who cares?
Yin, the problem
In which
is
case, George,
that
I'd appreciate it if you stop sharing photos of flat horizons if we don't do it.
What are you talking
no,
about?
hang on, you're missing something. This is what I was trying to clear up a minute ago.
What are you talking
One
about?
second.
He's just told Jorge off. What's going on?
No, because leave me respond. Right, like I was trying to say a minute ago, because I know what the problem is. Yin, when we look out, we see horizontal, but our peripheral, because of our eyes, and the same with a camera lens, is going to have barrel distortion. Right? Even if you try to correct that distortion, you can never 100% correct it. So you will see horizontal in reality. That's what we see. But your peripheral will be, if you turn around, it will appear like you're looking around a 360-degree circle. But right in front of you will be horizontal. So if someone presents to you, because the peripheral is only perceptive, what you're looking directly at is what's going on.
That's not. Yeah, but that's not answering the question. He's talking about photographs from space. That was his whole point, to push back around.
Maybe that's just the way he's describing it. Because what I got from it is that he was trying. Yeah. What I got from it was that he was.
Hold on, Brian. Hold on. Right. Go ahead, Yin. Oh, was it only your interjection when there was someone else talking? My bad, Yin.
Can I continue?
Yin interrupted you. I thought he had something to say.
No, I was agreeing with him because I think he's getting to the point I was making.
But do you want to make it?
Really?
The crux of my whole question. The crux of my whole question isn't to the origin of the photos, if the existence of space or anything like that. It's just to the discussion that, fake or not, what you would be looking for in that photo. When those photos pop up of a curved horizon, you say, oh, it's a fisheye, or if it's straight. And some people, as you say, you don't do it. Some people go, oh, look, it's straight. That's awesome. But to me, if it was curved, then you wouldn't expect straight. So that's not really a win. And if you don't do that, then that conversation is moot, people. Yeah, flat earthers should not be seeing straight lines and going, we win.
I see.
That's my understanding. From what
Okay, I got you. I got your point.
They should.
Okay, but swear me, Brian. Okay, but we don't have a positive claim about the horizon. You do, as a baller. But it's only ever going to be a lose for you talking about the horizon, because we don't have a positive claim to defend here, do we? So when you say, oh, it's a win or lose, whether it's bent or curved, only for the globe, because unless you want to point out what positive assertion we have about the horizon, maybe we can get into that then and defend that, as opposed to some straw man in regards to your positive claim that fails because you've got pictures from space. That's why it failed, by the way, as a globe claim. Irrelevant for us unless you want to cite where we use the horizon, and then we'll get into that.
No, I'm good there. I'm literally just talking on the basis of memes and such that I see of people seeing straight horizons and going, we win.
Yeah, but
for
they
some
are
reason,
seeing
I just don't understand that
You're
claim.
missing the point, Jane.
Okay.
But you're missing the point.
No, it's okay,
No,
Brian.
I have to
no,
clear this
it's
up
okay,
because I know where he's gonna go with it.
Brian.
No.
Brian, thank you. Yeah. Your second attempt to use a stereotyping fallacy, then, in other words.
No, it's not a stereotype. I'm just
Did
asking
we use
a question
it?
about images.
Stop! Don't disagree with me. Did we use it? Did we say that?
No, you said you don't use it, and I appreciate that.
So facts. It's a stereotyping fallacy for us to be defending something we didn't claim, but, quote, the people claim it. The people who claim it. That's a stereotyping fallacy. Don't disagree with me when I'm factually accurate. That pisses me off royally. Yes, you are guilty of a stereotyping fallacy. No, we didn't fucking claim it. Because it's a stereotyping fallacy you've used. So do you want to say yes? Not no, because you'll get me shouting and swearing at you when you disagree with the fact you have used a stereotyping fallacy for the second time. That's why I'm pissed at you. I've already pointed this out once. This is the second time.
Okay, I apologise. That is technically a stereotype.
Not technically, it just is. You said no when I pointed it out the last time.
Yeah, I apologise for that. I'm merely just trying to
using
ask
the
about those things I
stereotyping.
do see.
You apologise for using the stereotyping fallacy after I told you that you'd used it once. You apologise for using it a second time. You seem insincere.
I think it's a miscommunication on my side.
Not really.
I'm trying
You
to ask
used a
about-
stereotyping fallacy twice after I told you what it was the first time. You still persisted in using it a second time the exact same way you did the first after I pointed it out. There's no miscommunication. I'm very sharp. You just used the same fallacy a second time. There's no miscommunication. Just you using fallacy. Again.
I'm not a perfect learner, and I made a mistake twice, and I apologise for that. I was only trying to ask about the things I see, and why other people, in some circumstances, seem to do it, and your opinion.
I see.
And
When
if
did
what
you
I'm
see
understanding
these?
your opinion is,
When did you see?
if you're-
When did you see this in space? When did you see this?
The picture.
No. You just said you were talking about what you see. Just what you see, you said. Correct? Is there a miscommunication when I verbatim quote you? Is there a miscommunication when I give you back your own words verbatim? Is that a miscommunication? What you see is what you said.
The images I see of
Oh,
people
that's not what you said.
annotating them
So you're going to add extra words. I think there is a failure in communication. You don't speak English well. You don't qualify
I
your
do speak
words well.
English,
You
but
don't.
I
You
find
don't
it
tolerate
sometimes
listening
difficult to
well.
explain
You
myself.
don't tolerate listening. You're talking through me.
Because I'm being attacked.
Yeah, you're still
I
doing
feel
it,
attacked.
making you ignorant. You don't like being wrong. You don't like having your fallacies pointed out. What you do enjoy doing, while I'm pointing out the errors in your poor communication, after you claim there's a problem with communication? Yeah, it's you. You are the problem here.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree
Yeah,
that my
good. So shut up.
communication was not
So shut
stellar,
up.
And I would like to.
So you think the most ignorant person who can't communicate properly should hog the mic indefinitely? No, sunshine. That means shut up. Yeah. So we aren't defending your logical fallacy, stereotyping, in regards to what the people say about horizons. We do have a claim about a horizon. We didn't get there. You just wanted to repeatedly use the stereotyping fallacy, and when it was pointed out for the second time, you said no, denying it, pissing me off royally. Now you want to babble incessantly through me? No. The learned amongst us are talking, sunshine. That means you're not. Yeah, we know you're not good at learning. So perhaps shut your mouth a little bit more often when we try and educate your dumbass about communication. And how if you're talking about how you see images from Narnia, we'll laugh at you because you haven't actually seen them. But that's not what you said. You said you were just talking about what you see. I asked in response, when have you seen stuff in space? We didn't get an answer. We got an extra qualification from a weasel who doesn't know how to communicate, but we definitely didn't get an answer to my very well communicated and now well qualified question about what you personally have seen in Narnia. I mean space. Can I get an answer? What have you seen in space?
Is this my opportunity to reply? I have not seen space.
But why do you have an opinion on it? You were telling us about your opinions of things, images, from a place you've never seen, and we fundamentally debunk as existing, but you're going to peddle your beliefs about a place you haven't even been? What bloody outrage. Again, the most ignorant amongst us with his beliefs about a place he hasn't been is talking straight through the person who's debunked his stupid nonsense he should be sitting down and listening to. You think it's your turn to speak, do you, Dumbo? Straight through the host berating your dumbass who uses fallacies continually. Your turn to speak, you think? No, that was rhetorical. It's called communication, something you lack. Space isn't real. That's the point here. So your images, again, there's the Dumbo talking through the person debunking his religion.
I said...
Shut up, you stupid, ignorant baller. I know you can't tolerate the fact that your images you think you've seen come from Narnia that isn't real. That's a sky vacuum with gas not expanding into it, a second law of thermodynamics violation. You think that means it's your turn to talk? Wrong, Dumbo. You're being shut down by a flat earther, berating you for your ignorance as you admit how wrong you are and how little you know about pseudoscience, with continual interruption. Yeah, you're getting told off by a flat earther for your ignorance, sunshine. Tolerate it.
Get to the point.
I'm getting to my point that space isn't real. Therefore, we're not going to assess images of horizons from a place that isn't real. That was pointed out to you, and when it's being reiterated, you're talking through me, right? So you think you're going to rumpus the conclusion that space is fake? Is that your game
I
here
was
by
talking about
talking
the
through me like you
photos,
are now?
not their origin.
Yeah, you don't need to talk through me. There will be an end to my rant. It won't be at the point that you decide to just start talking through me, though. I'll decide when I make my point absolutely clear without any interruption from you. And every time you do interrupt this concise conclusion that space is fake, I'll just reiterate it again every time you interrupt me. The most stupid person here, thinking he needs to talk through the conclusion that space is fake. Therefore, the assessment of horizons in a fake place isn't going to happen. No matter how much you want to theorise and hypothesise about whether or not images with fake origins have real horizons to discuss. They don't. That's the point. Now, when you concede that point, we might have some hypothetical discussions with you, because then it's fun for us. But when you can't concede that the point is concluded because space isn't real, that won't move forward from until you concede it. Not rumpus the living shit out of me while I reiterate it to you. Yeah, that's us waiting for your concession. Yes, I understand that space can't be real. It's a second law of thermodynamics violation. Therefore, my questions about horizons are moot. That's what we're waiting for.
If that is your stance, I accept that stance. That was the root of my question, was your stance on those photos, be they fake or not.
The photos that you used in your stereotyping fallacy with horizons being drawn attention to by the people, those... Oh, we concisely ripped that to shreds as a stupid question asked by a moron who doesn't know how to communicate and thinks that questions about horizons in a place that isn't real are worthy of our time. They're not. It's very irritating when I get talked through highlighting to that to you 7 times with your constant interruptions. Very irritating that you could be so triggered as a religious zealot with a ball belief and a sky vacuum that isn't real.
Right. The words photo and from space are mutually exclusive. That's basically the point here. So you can't keep suggesting from space because then it's not going to be a photo.
Yeah, and if you're going to talk about photos from a high altitude, then that would be photos from a high altitude. If I see a photograph of the globe Earth, an image of the globe Earth that's claimed to be from space, I'm not going to be looking for horizontals because I know what I'm seeing there isn't any horizontals. It can't be, it's a sphere that I'm looking at in the image, or that's the way it's being depicted. But if I'm talking about actual photographs from high altitude, then what you see is what you see. So if you see horizontal, you're seeing horizontal. If you're seeing a horizon that's not dropping at the exponential rate that it should be, if that balloon or whatever was rising up over a globe Earth, then that's what you're seeing. But your peripheral vision and barrel distortion will always be there with optics. So you're looking straight ahead, you'll see horizontal. If it's horizontal, you're seeing horizontal. But if you go around in a 360 circle, it will appear like a circle to you, because that's how your eyes work, and that's how optics work, because they're based on the eyes. But if you're seeing horizontal straight out in front of you, you're seeing horizontal. So if someone is showing you a photograph from high altitude balloon, and it's a horizontal, it's just a horizontal.
Will that horizon ever curve?
Nah, you wouldn't be able to use it to establish horizontal if it did, because they're different points along the curve, wouldn't they, Neil? But we do use the horizon to establish horizontal, so yeah.
See, it depends, Neil, on what you're looking at, because if you're up high, then you could be looking through clouds and different things. So up high, you could see an horizon that's squarely, horizontal, concave, convex, depending on obviously with the lens. But the point is that it's what the horizon is not doing. And it's not dropping at the exponential rate it would have to if we lived on a globe Earth. It's not doing that, ever. The only rate of dip was between 2 horizontal planes. The horizon is not going down as it would do if we're on a globe. And that's the thing about high altitude footage. because you don't know if you're looking at the sea when you're seeing an horizon from high altitude. Do you know what I mean? You're looking through all kinds of weather and clouds and everything to see this horizon. No.
Yeah, I can make a positive claim though. The horizon is not Earth curves.
Well, what I would say is that if we were on a globe and we raised up high in a high altitude balloon, if that was possible to do, then you would never see a horizontal horizon. Now you can, on a flat plane, see an horizon that looks convex, concave, depending on the obviously the lens, but also depending on the sun, where the sun is, clouds, weather, different things. You can't see that kind of thing from time to time, but it won't be consistent. But what you would never see on a globe, if you raised up, you would never ever get a horizontal view. It can't, and your horizontal and the horizon would have to drop away at an exponential rate, way beyond what we experience. So if someone wants to argue about the horizon in high altitude photos, those are the 2 points that are important, in my opinion.
Can we get back to another claim that he made yesterday about dip angle? Can we do that? Can I quote you, Yin?
Just Yin and
You
Kiwi,
may-
please.
It's why I got no guns. He just firing with 22s. He's learning, guys. Why I no guns.
That's okay.
He's working on his
That's
gun
not
work.
a problem. Don't make fun of his name, for goodness sakes. So, Yin said the dip angle correction includes 7/6R refraction correction. This table is mostly thought to be correcting for the horizon dropping away from the horizontal line on the globe, but it is calculated for refracted radius, not geometric radius. This table is also in the Nautical Almanac always. I got a question for you. Let's say you're on a boat and the boat was shifting back and forth and you slip, you fell over the railing, you have a sextant in your hand, and you immediately grab out for a rubber ducky life preserver. And you land in the water and you're in your rubber ducky life preserver and you decide, hey, listen, the ship's going to stop. Just let me take my elevation angle right here. Would he then have to apply a dip correction?
I'm still learning about how dips work, but at that point, you're at the true horizon. Honestly, I've spent some time today trying to understand how many different horizons there are, and it's head spinning. But then you're at water level, so level with the apparent horizon. So I guess there wouldn't be any correction because you're technically at a height of 0.
Correct.
Water.
So what happens to the sex? Correct.
Sorry,
so
just
what
for
happens
clarity,
to the
sorry,
sex?
Kiwi. Sorry to interrupt. So we're at water. What?
It.
Did you hear my question?
Well, correction. Optically speaking, he was shooting with cameras.
Said we were at a
camera
point
work.
on the water. Water something or other. I didn't quite hear what he said. Let me just get that
I have
clarity.
already forgotten what I said in my communication.
Something about the water.
It said water level.
Water level.
Are we just galloping onto water level, or are we discussing sex?
Well, I mean, is that level or not? Water level.
Are we just galloping to water level, or are we discussing sex?
We're defining what level means. That's what we're doing. You use the word.
Following the shape of the mass that is beneath.
Okay. And go on, Kiwi. You're bad.
Yes, I was just saying because you included a lot in your statement here. We got 7/6R refraction correction. We have the refracted radius and not the geometric radius. What happened to that? Why did me slipping, or the person with the sextant slipping off the boat, render all those points you just made moot by falling into the water?
So again, learning it. From my understanding of the dip corrections, as you go up, you can essentially your apparent horizon, like where your vision and the Earth drops away on a globe model, widens. So as you go up, you can see further.
My apparent
That's what that
horizon on a
accounts for.
globe model?
That's how it's
horizon.
designed to function, so that is the only explanation I can personally give.
Yeah, my question was, where'd everything else go? Where'd the 7/6R refraction correction go? Where did the refracted radius go? And no geometric radius. All that went away as soon as I hit the water with the rubber ducky life preserver. Why did that happen?
Because you're level with that horizon, you don't have to account for its drop.
What you're saying
That's
that
at least
all
my
those
understanding.
points you said were rendered null then just by me landing in the water?
Because depth accounts for height, is my understanding. If you have no height off the water, then there is no corrections.
So it's a height of eye correction is what you're saying.
Yeah, because the higher up you go, the more curvature on a globe you would be able to see. You'd be able to
The
see
more
further.
curvature on a globe.
Yeah, I agree. It is based on a globe. That is just my current understanding of it.
Yeah, but my question still stands. Why did the effect of, let's say it's me, and I grabbed the rubber ducky life preserver and a sextant. What happened to the 7/6 refraction or refraction correction? That didn't change. My landing in the water didn't change anything about 7/6 refraction or the refracted radius. Hello? That should
Yeah,
still be
Photo
common.
does ISIS. He
I am
doesn't
thinking it
say
through.
it yet.
Can everyone else shut up? Just QE
Oh, my bad.
and Yin.
So do you follow my thought
afraid-
process here?
I'm afraid I can't give you a different answer to what I've given. At a height, the horizon you would have to look down to be looking at. If you're at the water level, let's say you're literally bobbing your eyes in and out of the water, the horizon's right in front of you. There's nothing to correct for. That's my understanding of it. Because you are literally at that elevation of 0, there's no corrections needed. If you go up again, then you'll need to make those corrections. Because the height is the variable
Can
you are
take over,
changing.
Nathan? He's not hearing me well. He's not answering my question.
I'm afraid I just simply do not understand the
Do you
question.
understand what
Everybody
Q is
else,
asking you?
everybody else, stop. Just QE. Last thing I heard from QE is not responding to my question. Maybe we can have QE clarify what that is, and then we'll move forward.
I'm going to clarify my question one more time. I just want you to answer this question. You said the dip angle correction includes 7/6R refraction correction. You also stated that there was a refracted radius. My question is, how is me falling into the water with the rubber ducky life preserver and a sextant rendering null the refraction correction and the refracted radius?
Because your height is now at 0. I'm sorry, that is the only answer I can give. Because you're at 0, there's no refraction acting on you looking at the surface of the water.
Oh, so refraction
enough
just
to be-
disappears then?
No, it doesn't disappear, but it's negligible. You probably just ignore it. Because you're literally looking at the water level. You're bobbing your eyes in and out of the pool, essentially. So it's just flat at that stage. As you go up, the horizon will eventually start to drop, and then you will have to make corrections. That is my understanding of it. So it goes away because at 0, there is no need for it.
Oh, so you're saying they just go away? He answered my question. That's
At that
preposterous.
elevation, yes.
Hold on. You said at that elevation, it's just flat then? That's what you said?
No, nothing's flat just because you're at that
That's what you
elevation.
just said.
Your
Those were your.
perception of the
It's another
horizon
one of
is level
those, isn't it?
your-
The host quotes back what you said verbatim, and you say no. That's what you said. At that point, it's just flat.
Sorry, that's
You
how
don't
I'm
have to
processing
talk
it.
through me when it gets to the devastating bit you said, and I repeat. Everybody on G+. Third time's a charm. Stick yourselves on mute. You said at that point it is flat. That is your words, verbatim, not no. Yes, Nathan, that is what I said.
He ran away.
He ran away at the point that he was having his verbatim quote that at that point it is flat quoted back. He skedaddled. I love it. Couldn't have been a better outcome. Earth is flat. Rubber ducky life preserver, ladies and gentlemen. I give you quantum eraser.
Thank you. I'll be in the area all week.
Rubber ducky, you're the one.
You make
Hey,
bath
he did
time
mention-
lots of fun. Rubber ducky, I'm awfully fond of you.
Also,
Still don't think
Nathan,
he
the
gets
thing
it,
he
though.
was, the thing he wasn't getting was with the rubber ducky preserver lifeboat was, yeah, his eyes on. You're still using the sextant, and you're still bringing a luminary down, which could be thousands of miles away to zero. So that's the point we say. So you still don't have to account for refraction and the 7/6R. He was forgetting that bit, wasn't he?
Yes.
Well, QE led him away from it. That was the kind of
Yeah, very slick.
very slick. Anyway, I think.
Well, the problem is they don't understand the dip correction in the first place. Because when he started detailing it, QE actually got the answer out of him earlier, and QE said, "So it's a height of flight correction." I would have, and I don't know. I don't think he said yes at that point. He was trying to explain some other thing, but that was the point when it was over, because that meant it had nothing to do with the distance to the horizon or a globe or anything else. It was purely height of eye.
Exactly. At that point, quote, it's flat. And with that, I'm going to say another massive, huge, enormous thank you to both Discord and G Plus panels for making today's after show and live show and all the hassle of the in-between bits possible. And of course, a massive thank you to all of you in either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley premiering streams for hopefully smashing the super chat, liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, hit me up on PayPal and all that good stuff. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.
What a lovely day!